Hello, my little friends. Today, I will tell you the magical story of Peter Pan, the boy who never wanted to grow up, and who lived in a land of dreams and adventures. So sit back, close your eyes, and let your imagination fly with me. Once upon a time, in the city of London, there lived 3 children, Wendy, John, and little Michael Darling. They lived in a cozy house with their kind parents, Mr. and Mrs. Darling, and their gentle nurse, who was not a person, but a big, fluffy dog named Nana. Every evening, Nana tucked the children into their beds and wagged her tail as Mrs. Darling told bedtime stories. Wendy loved stories more than anyone. Her favorite story was about Peter Pan, the magical boy who could fly and lived in a place called Neverland. Wendy often told her brothers about him. He fights pirates, swims with mermaids, and plays with fairies, she said dreamily. John laughed. Fairies aren't real, Wendy. But Wendy smiled. Oh, yes, they are. Peter Pan told me so. For you see, my little friends, Peter Pan was not just a story. He was real, and sometimes, late at night, he flew all the way from Neverland to listen at the Darling children's window. He loved hearing Wendy's stories, especially when they were about him. One night, as the stars twinkled brightly, Peter Pan and his tiny fairy friend Tinker Bell flew to the Darling house again. But as they landed on the windowsill, something went wrong. Peter's shadow got caught on the window latch. Peter tried to pull it free, but it tore off. Oh no, my shadow, he whispered. The noise woke Wendy. She sat up and gasped. You're Peter Pan. Peter grinned. Of course I am, and this is Tinker Bell. The tiny fairy twinkled and glowed like a star. Wendy was amazed. Oh, Peter, I've told so many stories about you, and I've heard every one, said Peter proudly, but now I've lost my shadow. Can you help me put it back? Wendy smiled kindly. Of course. She took her sewing kit and gently sewed Peter's shadow back to his shoes. There, she said. Peter jumped up happily. You're wonderful, Wendy. Wendy blushed. Thank you, Peter. But tell me, where do you live? In Neverland, said Peter. It's a magical island where dreams come true. There are mermaids, pirates, and lost boys who have no parents. I take care of them. Oh, how lovely, said Wendy. I wish I could see it. Peter's eyes sparkled. You can. Come with me. You, John, and Michael. I'll teach you to fly. The children gasped. Fly? Like birds? Peter nodded. All you need is faith, trust, and a little bit of fairy dust. Tinker Bell giggled and sprinkled golden dust over them. Peter took Wendy's hand, then John's and Michael's. Now think happy thoughts. I'm thinking about candy, said Michael. I'm thinking about pirates, shouted John. I'm thinking about adventures, laughed Wendy. And suddenly, whoosh, they lifted off the ground. The children flew around the room, laughing and spinning. Come on, Peter shouted, to Neverland. Out the window they went up over the rooftops of London, past the Big Ben clock tower, and into the night sky filled with stars. Second star to the right and straight on till morning, Peter called. They flew for hours, and finally, as dawn painted the sky pink and gold, a magical island appeared below with sparkling lagoons, tall trees, and shining waterfalls. Welcome to Neverland, said Peter proudly. Down below, pirates sailed their ship across the sea. The ship's captain was a fierce man with a long black coat, a feathered hat, and a shiny metal hook instead of a hand. His name was Captain Hook, and he hated Peter Pan more than anything in the world. Hook shook his hook angrily. That flying boy made a fool of me. One day I'll catch him, and his little fairy too. His crew of silly pirates cheered, though they were secretly afraid of Hook. and Hook himself was afraid of only one thing, a giant crocodile that had once bitten off his hand. The crocodile had loved the taste so much that it followed Hook everywhere, hoping for another bite. Luckily, the crocodile had swallowed a clock, so Hook always heard a tick-tock sound before it appeared. Meanwhile, Peter Pan and the children landed in a forest filled with laughter and birdsong. Out of the trees ran the Lost Boys, a group of cheerful children dressed in animal costumes. "Peter, you're back," they shouted. "These are my friends," said Peter. "They never grow up." The Lost Boys cheered. "Hooray! Who are the new friends?" "This is Wendy," said Peter. "She can tell stories and be our mother." Wendy smiled. "I'd love to be your mother." So the Lost Boys built a cozy house under a big old tree. They called it the home under the ground, and every evening Wendy tucked them in, told bedtime stories, and sang lullabies while Peter watched proudly. The days in Neverland were full of adventures. They played with the mermaids in the lagoon, visited the fairies in their glowing gardens, and sometimes fought pretend battles with the pirates, though Hook never stopped plotting his revenge. One day, as Wendy and the boys were playing near the water, Hook saw them through his telescope. "So that's where Peter hides," he growled. "We'll kidnap that Wendy girl and make Peter come to us." That night, Hook and his pirates crept quietly through the forest. Tinker Bell saw them and flew to warn Peter. "Peter, Hook is coming," she cried. Peter gathered the Lost Boys. "To the ship," he said. "We must save Wendy." But Hook had already captured her. When Wendy woke up, she was tied to the mast of the pirate ship. Hook smiled wickedly. "Tell Peter Pan to come, or you'll walk the plank." Wendy was brave. "Peter will never give up," she said. Just then, a loud tick-tock echoed across the deck. Hook froze. "The crocodile!" he screamed, jumping into a barrel. But it wasn't the crocodile, it was Peter, hiding inside the ticking sound. "Looking for me, Hook?" shouted Peter, leaping from the shadows. Hook swung his sword. "This time, boy, you won't escape." The two fought fiercely. Peter darted and spun through the air, laughing. "You're too slow, Hook." Hook growled and lunged, but Peter dodged, and Hook tripped right over the side of the ship. Tick-tock came the sound again. The crocodile was waiting below, mouth wide open. Hook screamed and swam away as fast as he could, the crocodile chasing right behind him. The pirates ran in panic, and the Lost Boys cheered. "Hooray for Peter Pan." Peter untied Wendy. "You're safe now," he said. "Thank you, Peter." Wendy smiled. "But I think it's time for us to go home." Peter's smile faded. "You want to leave?" Wendy nodded softly. "We love Neverland, but we miss our parents." The Lost Boys looked sad. "Can we come too?" they asked. "Of course," said Wendy kindly. "You can all live with us." Peter shook his head. "I'll stay here. I belong to Neverland." The next morning, Peter and Tinker Bell sprinkled fairy dust once more. "Think happy thoughts," said Peter, smiling bravely. Together, Wendy, John, Michael, and the Lost Boys rose into the air and flew back across the sea, over clouds and stars, until the city of London appeared below. They landed softly in their nursery just as dawn broke. Mrs. Darling opened the door and gasped, "Wendy, John, Michael, you're home." She hugged them tightly, tears of joy streaming down her face. Later that morning, Mr. Darling welcomed the Lost Boys into the family. "You may stay with us," he said warmly. "Every child deserves a home." That night, Wendy looked out the window. In the distance, she saw a small figure flying across the moon, Peter Pan, waving goodbye. "Good night, Peter," she whispered. "I'll never forget you." Peter smiled and called back, "And I'll never forget you, Wendy." Just think happy thoughts, and I'll always be near." He flew back toward Neverland, where Tinker Bell greeted him with a sparkle of golden light. The stars twinkled above, and Peter laughed joyfully, free as the wind. The magic of Neverland. Time passed, but in the hearts of Wendy and her brothers, Neverland was always alive. They grew older, went to school, and made new friends, but sometimes, on quiet nights, Wendy would tell her little brothers bedtime stories about Peter Pan, the lost boys, and the island where no one ever grows up. And sometimes, when the wind blew softly through the window, she thought she heard a faint giggle, the sound of Peter flying by, looking for new adventures. Wendy would smile and whisper, "Fly high, Peter." The moral of Peter Pan. My little friends, Peter Pan's story teaches us something very special. It reminds us to keep a bit of childhood magic in our hearts, no matter how old we grow. Growing up is wonderful. It means learning, dreaming, and becoming kind and wise. But we should never forget how to imagine, laugh, play, and believe. Because even if we can't fly with fairy dust, our dreams can still lift us higher than the clouds. All we need is faith, trust, and a little bit of magic in our hearts. So, never stop dreaming, my little friends. Keep your imagination bright, and remember, there's always a bit of Neverland waiting for you, whenever you close your eyes and believe. Goodbye with kind wishes, my little friends. Please like and subscribe to my channel.